sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.
Okay, so you sent us some sources about the ReproductiveRights.gov website going dark.
Yeah.
The very night Trump starts his second term.
Right.
It's definitely a head scratcher.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's dive in and see what we can uncover about like the why, the who, and what this actually means for people.
It's certainly a curious development,
Yeah.
especially given like the current political climate surrounding reproductive rights in the U.S.
For sure.
This website, launched by the Department of Health and Human Services back in 2022,
Okay.
was designed to be kind of a one-stop shop for information
Yep.
on reproductive health care, including abortion access.
So it was a big deal
Sort of.
for people trying to navigate this landscape,
Oh, yeah.
especially after Roe v. Wade was overturned.
Absolutely. Think of it like this.
Right.
After Roe v. Wade was overturned, the power to regulate abortion shifted
Right.
from the federal level to individual states.
Gotcha.
This created like a patchwork of laws across the country,
Wow.
making it incredibly difficult for people to understand their rights and
Yeah,
access the care they needed.
of course.
The ReproductiveRights.gov website aimed to cut through that confusion,
Okay.
providing clear and accurate information in a constantly evolving legal environment.
And one of the key things it emphasized
Yeah.
was that despite the overturning of Roe, abortion remained legal in many states.
Absolutely.
It also had a Know Your Rights fact sheet, which
Yeah.
feels especially relevant for us right now.
Absolutely. The website clarified which other reproductive health services
Okay.
were still protected under federal law,
Right.
even in states with strict abortion laws.
Okay.
For example, it spelled out that most insurance plans must cover birth control
Oh, interesting.
due to the Affordable Care Act,
Okay.
which is interesting considering Trump's repeated calls to repeal the ACA.
Talk about adding to the confusion.
Oh.
It's like one hand is giving information and the other is potentially taking away the very rights the website is explaining.
Yeah.
And then there's the issue of medication abortion,
Yeah.
using mifepristone and misoprostol. Uh-huh.
Which the website also covered.
Yes. And it's important to go beyond simply stating it's FDA approved.
Right.
This method involves taking 2 pills.
Right.
And it's become increasingly important in states where surgical abortion is restricted or banned altogether.
Interesting.
It's been a game changer for many,
Yeah.
but it's also sparked a lot of legal and political battles.
So we've got this website explaining rights and access to care,
Right.
including medication abortion.
Yeah.
While simultaneously, we've got political figures like Trump potentially undermining those very things.
Mm-hmm.
And then, boom, the website disappears the same day he starts his second term.
Yeah.
CBS News reached out to the administration and crickets.
Crickets.
Why the silence?
The lack of transparency is certainly puzzling.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder about the motivations behind the shutdown.
Uh-huh.
Is it a deliberate attempt to restrict access to information?
Right.
A way to appease certain political factions?
Yeah.
It's hard to say for sure without an official statement. And to make things even more interesting,
Yeah.
we have Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Trump's pick for head of Health and Human Services.
Yeah.
His stance on abortion, well, let's just say it's been a bit of a roller coaster.
He's made a series of statements that seem to contradict each other.
Yeah.
He's called abortion a tragedy, but also said it should be legal up to a certain point.
Interesting.
He's even talked about wanting to reduce abortions through better support for mothers and families,
Right.
which some see as a more compassionate approach.
Right. He initially seemed to support legal abortion up to a certain number of weeks,
Yeah.
then hinted at a national ban after 3 months. But then his spokesperson denied he supported an abortion ban altogether.
Right.
So which is it?
It's certainly strategic.
Yeah,
And it raises questions about his true position on this issue.
for sure.
Is he genuinely conflicted,
Yeah.
trying to appeal to different sides? Or is there a calculated political strategy at play? His role as head of HHS gives him immense power over reproductive health policy.
Yeah.
So his unclear stance only adds to the uncertainty surrounding the future of reproductive rights.
It's like he's playing a game of political chess, and we're trying to figure out his next move.
Definitely.
And then there's Trump, who throws another wrench into the mix.
Right.
He says abortion decisions should be left to individual states,
Yeah.
and that he'd veto a federal ban.
But he also takes credit for the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade,
Right.
which effectively handed the power to regulate abortion over to the states.
Exactly.
It's a politically charged dance, to say the least.
Absolutely. And remember, this is all happening against the backdrop of the actual legal landscape on the ground.
Right.
According to the Guttmacher Institute, 12 states have completely banned abortion,
Wow.
and 4 more have bans after 6 weeks, which is before many even know they're pregnant.
Right.
It paints a stark picture of the reality facing millions of people. And this is precisely where a resource like ReproductiveRights.gov could have been so valuable.
Yeah.
It offered clarity in a time of immense confusion and change.
It did.
Especially given that a CBS News poll found most Americans support legal abortion in all or most cases.
Right.
Clearly, this is an issue that deeply resonates with the public,
Yeah.
and access to accurate information is crucial.
For sure.
But with the website gone, where do people turn?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right.
The website's absence creates a void.
Yeah.
Especially for those who might not be as familiar with navigating these complex issues.
So what happens when people can't find reliable information
Right.
from the government? Where do they go? What are they supposed to do?
Think of it like losing your GPS in unfamiliar territory. You need to find alternative routes and resources to guide you.
Yeah.
Thankfully, there are organizations dedicated to providing this kind of support,
Okay.
even in the face of political roadblocks.
Like Planned Parenthood, for example.
Yeah.
They've been around for ages and are known for providing a wide range of reproductive health care services.
Planned Parenthood is like a beacon in this landscape.
Okay.
They offer a wealth of information online.
Yeah.
From explaining the different types of abortion to detailing what to expect during a procedure.
Wow.
And they can even help you find a provider in your state,
Okay.
which can be incredibly challenging in areas with restrictive laws.
It's like having a trusted guide in a world that suddenly feels very uncharted.
Yeah.
What about research and data? Is there anywhere people can go for like a deeper dive into the legal and political complexities?
Absolutely. The Guttmacher Institute
Okay.
is a treasure trove of information for those who want to understand the nuts and bolts of this issue.
Interesting.
They provide in-depth reports, fact sheets, and even interactive maps that track abortion laws across the country.
Interactive maps.
Yeah.
That's amazing. It's like having a bird's eye view of the legal battleground, showing how each state is approaching this issue.
Precisely. And they go beyond just the legal aspects.
Okay.
Guttmacher also researches public opinion, access to care,
Right.
and the impact of policies on people's lives.
Gotcha.
It's like having a team of expert analysts working to shed light on this often misunderstood topic.
It's so important to have those resources, especially when the information coming from the government seems clouded in ambiguity, like with the website shutdown or Kennedy's mixed messages. Speaking of which, let's go back to Trump for a moment.
Yeah.
His relationship with the abortion issue seems complicated, to say the least.
It's a tightrope walk,
Right.
politically speaking.
Yeah.
He needs to appeal to his base, which is largely anti-abortion, while also acknowledging that a significant portion of Americans support abortion rights.
So he tries to play both sides,
It seems that way.
claiming to be pro-life while also saying he wouldn't impose a federal ban.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's trying to have his cake and eat it, too.
It's a strategy we see often in politics, appeasing different groups
Right.
while trying to maintain a sense of consistency.
Of course.
But actions speak louder than words.
Yeah.
Appointing someone like Kennedy with his wavering stance sends a clear message,
For sure.
regardless of what's being said publicly.
And then there's the website shutdown itself. It
Right.
feels like a pretty big action.
Right.
It doesn't exactly scream transparency or commitment to reproductive health care.
Indeed. The timing, coupled with the administration's refusal to comment, raises concerns. It suggests a deliberate attempt to limit access to information,
Right.
which can have far-reaching consequences.
Especially when you consider the impact on people seeking care.
Yeah.
Without reliable information,
Right.
they become more vulnerable to misinformation and potentially harmful decisions.
Exactly. That's why resources like Planned Parenthood and Guttmacher are so vital.
Okay.
They act as a counterbalance to the political maneuvering,
Yeah.
providing evidence-based information and empowering people to make informed choices about their own bodies and lives.
Yeah. So let's bring this back to our listener who reached out to us with these sources.
Okay.
They're probably trying to make sense of this confusing and ever-changing situation. What advice would you give them?
Firstly, don't panic.
Okay.
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
But there are resources and people who can help you navigate these challenges. Start by understanding the specific laws in your state.
Right.
Knowledge is power,
Yeah.
especially in a landscape where things are constantly shifting.
And even in states where abortion is heavily restricted or banned, there are still options and support systems available. Organizations like Planned Parenthood connect you with providers in other states or offer information about medication abortion, which can be safely accessed remotely in many cases.
Right.
And don't underestimate the power of staying informed.
Yeah.
Pay attention to what elected officials are doing, not just what they're saying. Hold them accountable for their decisions and how those decisions impact people's lives.
It's about making your voice heard right. Whether that's through contacting representatives, supporting organizations like Planned Parenthood, or sharing your own story to help others feel less alone in this journey.
Absolutely. This isn't just a political issue. It's deeply personal and impacts millions of people every day.
Yeah.
And while the website shutting down might feel like a setback,
Right.
it can also be a call to action.
What's fascinating is the contrast between the political chess game and the reality on the ground.
Yeah.
Despite attempts to restrict access, public opinion remains largely in favor of abortion rights.
Right. That CBS News poll we talked about earlier found that most Americans believe abortion should be legal in all or most cases. That's a significant majority, sending a pretty clear message.
It highlights the potential disconnect between political agendas and the will of the people.
Yeah.
Politicians might be pushing certain narratives,
Right.
but the data suggests that a large segment of the population holds different views.
So what happens when those two forces collide? Will politicians eventually have to align their stances with public opinion? Or will they continue pushing policies that go against what most Americans want?
That's the big question, isn't it? Only time will tell how this tension will play out.
Yeah.
One thing's for sure, the fight for reproductive rights is far from over.
Yeah.
It's going to require continued vigilance activism and a willingness to challenge the status quo.
And that's where our listeners come in. We've given you a lot to think about today, but information is only powerful if it's used.
Exactly. So take this information and turn it into action.
Okay.
Research your state's specific laws.
Right.
Familiarize yourself with the resources available. And don't be afraid to speak up. Your voice matters.
Right.
And it can make a real difference.
The future of reproductive rights is uncertain.
Yeah.
But one thing is clear, it will be shaped by the actions we take today.
Well said. This has been a deep dive indeed, and I have a feeling we'll be revisiting this topic again soon. Until then, stay curious, stay informed, and stay empowered.
Sound the alarm. I'm coming up. We'll have a ball. I'm sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till